Call the meeting of the Terrace City Council of March 28, 2025 to order. And welcome everybody, and this is a reminder to everyone to turn off and silence your electronic devices for the duration of the meeting. If you'll... Is your microphone on? Yeah, it's on. Is that any better? Okay, all right, I'm sorry. Please turn your electronic devices off for the duration of the meeting. And if you will rise with me if you can, for the invocation of pledge allegiance to the flag. If I can. Thank you. Heavenly Father, be with us as we gather tonight to handle the business of our city. We thank you for the many blessings you bestow upon us each and every day, and ask for your guidance on this council and the decisions we make tonight, both large and small, that we will always do what is right and just. We ask for your healing hand to the members of our extended city family who are ill, and especially the Affronti family. We ask for your grace on all the employees of the city and for the protection of our first responders who serve and protect the citizens of our great city. In your most holy name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. In Mayor Ross's absence, I am acting mayor. I'm playing mayor tonight, so if I get quiet or don't hear me, just raise your hand and I'll make sure I speak louder. I do apologize. One of the things that we do every meeting is we do a historic fact, and that fact comes to me today. So my local fact for tonight deals with a brief history of the Temple Terrace Little League. The Temple Terrace Little League has been a cornerstone of the local community, fostering a spirit of sportsmanship, teamwork, and community engagement for decades. Established in the mid-'80s by a group of parents, the first games held during the 1957 time series. The league was incorporated as a 501c3 in 1960 and has operated under the umbrella of the Little League International since then. The games were primarily played at the Ridgedale Park across the Temple Terrace Golf and Country Club #1 green. The south half of the property is owned by the Hillsborough County School District and contains the major and the senior fields as well as batting cages and concession stands and everything else. Thank you. The north half of the property is owned by the Archdiocese of St. Petersburg and currently houses the T-ball fields and the minor league fields. In the past, the girls' fast-pitch softball was also in the middle field. And until 1994-95 timeframe, the fields were maintained by the parents of the league and so forth. The 60s, 70s, and 80s had significant growth for the league. The fields during the week were operating virtually every night of the week except for Sunday. Saturday was a day-long event with games running one after another until very late in the day. The league had significant impact on the countless lives of our young residents. There aren't many who did not participate in Temple Terrace Little League here, be it T-ball, Orange League, Grapefruit League, majors, junior or senior. And which the senior was really basically a feeder program for the King High School baseball program for the seniors. And beyond that, Coach Mack estimates 75 to 100 players that went through the Temple Terrace Little League program went on to play at a Division I school program through a college. And there were several that made it into the minors and 2 that made it into the professionals, into the major leagues. But those facts will come out at a different meeting. Anyway, and the league and then we had the girls' fast pitch softball. The league operated under 2 seasons, a winter instructional league and a spring competitive league. This season was completed as school ended for the year, after which the All-Star program, which was led up to the World Series event in August. Temple Terrace was host to numerous district games and series at all levels. Temple Terrace is a member of District 13, which covers most of central Hillsborough County. Other leagues included Sulphur Springs, North Seminole, East Bay, Antioch, Brandon, New Tampa, Land O'Lakes, and Lutz. There have been numerous presidents throughout the history of the league, and I have reached out to some of the past presidents who are trying to put together a work history covering the whole history of the league. I served in that capacity from 93 to 96, part of it quite by accident, much to the chagrin of my wife when I came home and said I'm now on the board. This time frame was very troubling and trying for the Terrace Little League. The city had just completed the 301 complex with the intention of moving all Temple Terrace Little League operations out there. There were issues and problems with the fields, including some field drainage and associated flooding, and the fee structures the city had been charging with the league. It was the league's participants. I'm not saying it's the city's fault, I'm just saying these were an issue. The league had leases with the Archdiocese and the school district that required continued maintenance at the Ridgedale complex, as well with the city of Temple Terrace to use the 301 fields. Meanwhile, the league was dealing with significant internal struggles with a Pony League faction that essentially split the league in half. The major differences were the rules of Little League versus the rules of Pony, including throwing of curveballs, coach pitching, base pass lengths, etc., just to name a few. At that point, however, Temple Terrace Little League had over 500 participants, kids, that played on 42 teams in 6 different leagues. That group of players produced dozens of high school players as well as collegiate and several MLB minor league draftees. Ultimately, the Temple Terrace Little League faction moved back to Ridgedale with Pony staying at 301. It was a big mess, resulting in a marathon council meeting on February 15, 1994, where the Little League endured a lengthy grilling by council members, and I had the privilege of standing in that podium there for that. The minutes from that session reflected 7 pages alone devoted to the Temple Terrace Little League issue. The result of that night was the revocation of the lease of the 301 complex between the city and the league. Relations with the city and the league were a little frosty until we renegotiated a new agreement with the director at that point, Kevin Dunmore, and the league for the city to take over operation and maintenance of the Ridgedale complex. The city installed new irrigation systems, state-of-the-art Musco lighting systems, new turf, etc. The result was a significant upgrade to the whole complex. The history of Temple Terrace Little League has had its peaks and valleys, but it remains resilient. The latest estimates put the roster at about 175 participants at different levels. It is a testament to the power of the community and the enduring appeal of baseball. From its humble beginnings, the league has touched the lives of thousands of family members and children and their families. And as it looks to the future, Temple Terrace League embodies the spirit of a sportsmanship and community that defines the heart of Temple Terrace and its citizens and families. Thank you. Okay. We'll move on to recognitions and proclamations. First recognition is Employee of the Month for the month of February. Is Mr. Frank Kendrick here? Come on up. Come on up, Frank. Welcome. Frank Kendrick is being recognized as the February's Employee of the Month. Frank was hired in December 2023, and in his short term with the city, he has learned to operate all the equipment and vehicles used in the Public Works Sanitation Division, as well as learned the scheduling processes and day-to-day tasks that help the sanitation staff operate daily. Frank is one of only 2 staff members in sanitation to meet the requirements for promotion to Driver 2 position, and has done so in just over a year of employment. Frank goes above and beyond to ensure completion of routes, and his willingness to put the best interests of the department and its staff before all else is noticed often. He has maintained a disposition of continued learning within the department to create better work practices and increase his quality of service. Frank has helped us develop a new process and shares his ideas frequently. He volunteers at city events and does so with a friendly demeanor and a big smile. Additionally, he is well respected by his peers and is a consistent, reliable member of the team who gets the job done every day. Frank Kendrick is a great addition to the Temple Terrace team. Frank, is there anything you'd like to say?
Thank you.
This is your chance. You can tell what's anybody. That's good. Well, we have a certificate for you. I'm not able to come down. If I could have the other council members to do the photo opportunity, I'd appreciate it. Yep. Thank you, Frank. You're doing a great job. We appreciate it.
And one more.
That's good. You're good.
Thank you.
Last chance, Frank. Nothing? Nothing? You're good. Thank you, sir. Okay. The next on our list is a proclamation of Women's History Month. If we could have the following Centennial Celebration Committee members: Julie Almeida, Nancy Hudson, Cheryl Mooney, Sherry Donahue, Marissa Robinson, and the Centennial Celebration Committee liaison, Corey Collins, come to the podium, please. Ladies, welcome. Women's History Month is celebrated each March to recognize women's contributions to history. This month, we are honoring the amazing women who have served on the City Centennial Committee, who have worked diligently since 2022 to commemorate the city's 100-year anniversary. Without such a dedicated and hardworking group of individuals, the number and variety of events, as well as the old-fashioned sense of community, would not be possible. From creating the city's 100-year artwork, to all the commemorative memorabilia that has been distributed, to the beautiful murals that are being designed and painted, to the monthly events that have been planned to celebrate our history, to the impressive timeline that was researched, designed, and placed on the wall of the Family Recreation Center, to the celebratory River Jam event that will be held on March 3rd, 2025. The women on the Centennial Committee deserve recognition for the incredible work they've accomplished over the past 3 years. Thank you for making this 100-year celebration a success. The proclamation is, whereas the U.S. Congress proclaimed the month of March as Women's History Month in 1987 and has proclaimed the observance every year since, and whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background have become historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of life by constituting a significant portion of the labor force. And whereas for centuries socioeconomic forces have challenged women's progress, however, despite these obstacles, America boasts a rich history of courageous women who have defied the odds. And whereas the city of Temple Terrace has become home to many dynamic and great women leaders, community servants, entrepreneurs, and business professionals, educators, and more who have made their influence felt and have constructed a path to ensure the Temple Terrace community continues to thrive. Therefore, I, Gil Schusser, instead of Andy Ross, by virtue of the authority vested in me, City of Temple Terrace designate March 2025 as Women's History Month. Is there anybody who would like to speak to me?
Come on, Corey.
Come on, Corey.
I do. This is my centennial podium. Corey Collins, Division Director, Parks and Recreation. Thank you. Just to clarify, River Jam is May 3rd.
What'd I say?
March.
I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay, May 3rd.
Did you notice we all fled?
No, I didn't. I was sorry about that.
Thank you. And we sound great, according to that proclamation.
We sure do.
Yeah.
Got a great
Thank you
team.
so very much for all that you do. And if you guys come on up for a photo op. No, I don't know.
You gotta get Gil in the picture. Right.
All righty. You gonna be a part of that?
We're trying to keep Gil in the picture.
That's all right. All right.
This side.
No, okay. Thank you.
over here.
Is Gil in it?
Like you like each other.
I'm in it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You break the lens.
It's kind of awkward. Okay. One more. I know.
And can we take one more? Can we ask all the women in the room to come up?
We'd love the women,
Sure.
all the women to come on up.
Come on, come on.
Look at them all.
Sure,
around.
Mom, look it up.
It's Women's History Month, come on. Yes.
All men sit down. All men out of the picture. I need to squeeze together.
Right in front. Rock it.
Come on. Okay.
What? Oh, press that.
Press that red button? Great. Just wear my glasses.
Okay, are you in it?
I'm burned.
Come on, Maria, get in.
All right, Maria.
Yeah.
I'll try my
not to get
best.
them.
Yeah.
Don't get that. Brian's here.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. Let's see here. 3, ready? The podium's gonna be in the way, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you.
Your podium.
Okay, thank you, everyone. All right, let's moving on with the rest of the agenda. Consideration of the minutes for the previous meeting. If the minutes are acceptable for the March 4th, 2025 meeting, please entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, with motion second, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, persons wishing to be heard on items not listed on the agenda or items on the consent agenda. We have a few. First one is Mr. Loeb. Please come to the podium, state your name and city of residence.
Well, my name is Charles
let-
Loeb, and I'm Terrace Park. And the first subject I want to talk about is the Friends of the Library book sale. I wish everybody could see this. I'll just show it around. It's starting on Thursday from 10 to 4, and that this programs, all the money that they raise during the programs help provide for free programming from the Friends of the Library. Another thing I want to talk about is my own version of Women's Studies Month. I found a book in the library, although I donated 3 as well, called Women's Studies Month, Women Artists and Surrealist Movement. It had 22 women in it and from 10 countries, and I donated to the Life Enrichment Center because I figured that's what they do, but I also gave them 3 books for resale. Another woman that I was thinking about, obviously, over the course of this time for Women's Studies Month, of course, is my mother. My mother passed on 30 years ago on the Jewish calendar yesterday, and 30 years ago on the civil calendar tomorrow. My mother wasn't exactly an ordinary woman. She 80 years ago was was a nurse. Over in World War II, she headed a unit that won a Merit Citation, and she herself won a Bronze Star, among other things. And I was thinking to myself that what would be something that she really would like over the course of time, and that I think would really be great for an idea. And I came up with one. Another group of women that I was thinking about were those 2 Muslim women, the sister that came here on March 4th, and the other and Miss Khan, who did that artwork. And I was thinking to myself, of course, while the men were very nice, and I went over and reached out to them, and, to say, I hope they had a blessed and peaceful Ramadan, because that's very tough. And I was thinking to myself, gee, wouldn't it be nice on May 3rd if we all cut together, all the people from the religions, from the various religions, Jews, Muslims, all the denominations of Christians, and we all cut a city birthday cake 100 years together, commemorating the 100, as well as people of different races and ethnic backgrounds. The reason is if people really want to begin with peace, peace begins in the minds and the hearts of people and within a community. And if we really pray for peace, which we all do all the time, it's got to begin somewhere. We got to show people something a little bit different than we see in the present for the future. Thank you all. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Loeb. I was remiss. A request to address the mayor and council in the back of the chambers. Please complete. There's a form back there to give to the city clerk. Council's agreed to a 30-minute time limit for all public comments, and it'll be continued at the end of the meeting if we run over that 30-minute time frame, so that we can get the rest of the agenda taken care of. A 3-minute time limit will be imposed on all comments from the public, and we ask the speakers come to the podium, state their name and city of residence. And during public comment on items not on the agenda or items on the consent agenda, the city managers and directors in attendance do make note of these items. So you need to be assured that all comments are taken seriously and all will be followed up on. Okay, next person is Steve Culbreth.
Thank you. My name is Steve Culbreth, 205 South Glenarvan Avenue, Temple Terrace, 33617. At my residence, I'm receiving the excess flow of water from 505 Bon Air, to some degree from 503 Bon Air. This occurs when rainfall amounts are 4+ inches per hour. This has continued for some 15 years. I spoke to former city engineer, Mr. Motto, and more recently the Director of Public Works regarding this issue. Approximately 15 years ago, I installed yard drains in my backyard to keep water out of our home. Just prior to the recent hurricanes, we had a rainfall event that approached almost 10 inches per hour that prompted me to install a sump pump at one of the drain locations. To date, my expenses to keep water out of the home exceeds $6,000. Previously stated, this excess sheet flow is from Bon Air. The issue, I believe, one of Bon Air having been overlaid some 15 years ago, a new pavement, it compromised the curb inlet there. If you look at it, it has an asphalt dam around it now. Point being, the inlet should have been redesigned to a combination inlet. Excuse me. Moreover, and secondly, the driveway aprons were never modified with the overlays to prevent continuous flow of water into the driveways. The water now finds its way into the driveway and through the yard of Bon Air, 505 Bon Air, and therefore it comes in my backyard. Recently, we've had rain events where my backyard is ankle deep in water. There are some serious areas of concern, but the resolution to my problems I see is based upon my own experience. The new sheet flow calculations as needed to verify the curb inlet design, and moreover, how many existing, is the one curb inlet good enough, or do we need to look at the current code and find that we need to install more on Bon Air? Redesign the driveway aprons on 505 and 503 Bon Air so that the water does not run into their yards. The water runs there simply because Bon Air runs east and west, and at that location of 503 and 505, the road takes a slight bend. Therefore, the water's picking up speed on the outer edge, and it's on the south side, which is the low side of the street. Therefore, 503 and 505 Bon Air receive water from Bon Air Road. And at this time, I'd like to see that hopefully this is taken seriously enough that my solution, that the city sees that there's a solution to this, and the city engineer sees that he should set a new standard when overlaying pavement on existing streets in the city of Temple Terrace. Stormwater is extremely critical that we review that before we design anything that has to be overlaid. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next speaker is Ms. Annette Rennie.
Annette Rennie, 9512 Woodland Ridge Drive. I'm here to thank City Council for putting the sign up, and Carl, and Carlos Beos for always answering emails politely, kindly. It's really appreciated. The sign is up, and if it saves one animal, it's due to you helping. I also want to say thank you to our police officers. Lately, I've noticed, like the old days, they're patrolling the neighborhoods. I'm out walking the dog, and I'll see one or two, and it's a good feeling. So thank you to our police chief and the police officers who are doing the patrolling. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rennie. Okay, next speaker is Paul Hodgkins. Hodgkins? Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yes, hello. My name is Paul Hodgkins. I am a resident of Hillsborough County. I believe that your most important job is to protect your citizens from harm and protect their rights. If you believe that in a free society we have bodily sovereignty, your citizens should be able to decide what drugs they will put into their own bodies. Yes, fluoride is classified as a drug by the FDA. As a free society, it is important that we do not set a precedent of mass medicating the public through their drinking water without their consent. Governor DeSantis has explicitly stated he is against mass medication with fluoride in our water systems. Also, Florida's Surgeon General, Dr. Joseph Ladapardo, urges all Florida to stop fluoridation, citing 72 robust studies where fluoride was shown to decrease our children's IQ. The CDC, under oath, has acknowledged research linking fluoride to brain damage, Alzheimer's, and dementia. The Lancet, one of the most prestigious medical journals, recommended that fluoride be classified as a developmental neurotoxin. This would put fluoride in the same category as lead, mercury, and arsenic. Dr. Ladapo has specifically stated that fluoridation in public health is public health malpractice. I ask you to act with an abundance of caution and vote to stop fluoride today from Temple Terrace's water system. People should be able to choose if they want to have fluoride or not. The evidence is clear that forced fluoridation is an outdated practice that sacrifices public health for neglectable benefits. It is time that we prioritize safety, follow Surgeon General's guidance, and immediately halt adding this toxin to our drinking water. I thank you for giving me my time.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Kurt Christensen.
Good evening, council members. I'm retired Lieutenant Colonel Kurt Christensen, a resident here at Hillsborough County. Florida is leading way in eliminating fluoride from our water supply. Currently, 40 counties in Florida do not fluoridate. Since the Florida Surgeon General issued guidance in November, 12 more cities have rejected fluoride, and more communities are making informed decisions each week. Thankfully, we live in a state that values constitutional rights and personal freedoms. In Florida, individuals have constitutional right to refuse medical treatment regardless of their health condition. This right to privacy is explicitly stated in Article 1, Section 23 of the Florida Constitution. Our state also provides vaccine exemptions, yet public fluoridation offers no option to opt out. Florida Statute 381.026 codifies the need for informed consent. Just as Governor DeSantis ended COVID-19 vaccine mandates, leaving the decision to the individual, we should do the same with fluoride. Some will argue that fluoride is not a drug. That is blatantly false, according to the FDA. Fluoride, when used as a treatment or prevention of disease, dental disease, is a drug that is subject to FDA regulations. We cannot ignore the risk, nor can we justify fluoride use simply because it has been done for decades. New research has raised serious concerns. We cannot outsource critical thinking to bureaucratic agencies that have repeatedly failed in healthcare guidance over the past 4 years. At the heart of this debate is bodily sovereignty. Should our government engage in mass medication, deciding what is best for the public, administering it through our water supply? As Ronald Reagan warned, the most terrifying words in English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." I know you care deeply about your citizens. You've taken an oath to protect them seriously. The research, the court rulings, and state recommendations have been presented to you. Our only response to this course of action is to end public fluoridation. Let's protect our babies, our children, and pregnant mothers. Let's help prevent fluoride-related health disease, such as brittle bones, hip fractures, even Alzheimer's, that comes from accumulation in the body. Let's end this now. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Okay, Pat Metcalf. Welcome.
Good evening, Pat Metcalf, Hillsborough County. I'm a nurse practitioner, and my background includes working as a critical care nurse, pharmaceutical sales rep, adjunct professor of nursing. And after much research, I am stunned that the fluoride product in our water system, it's called hydrofluorosilicic acid. It's classified as a drug and a neurotoxin according to CDC. Yes, the FDA classifies fluoride as a drug. Fluoride is a medicine or a medical treatment. It's not pharmaceutical grade, and the FDA has never approved fluoride for the prevention of tooth decay. Also, fluoride does nothing to improve the quality of water. Since fluoride is a drug, then we are all your patients. And city officials are not doctors. Doctors should be prescribing it and monitoring it. The safety data sheet for hydrofluorosilicic acid ranks at highest category 4 for acute oral toxicity, and it's labeled harmful if swallowed. Take a moment and reflect on that. Harmful if swallowed. I have a copy of it. All fluoridated toothpaste have a mandated warning on it. Call poison control right away if accidentally swallowed. Yet we are swallowing this hydrofluorosilicic acid in our water, and there's no warning to our citizens. According to Florida's Patient Bill of Rights, Statute 381.026, patients are required to be provided informed consent and the ability to opt out of a medical treatment if they choose. Why are our citizens denied these rights with fluoride? Citizens want choice when it comes to medical treatments, and doctors should be involved since fluoride is a drug. You are not doctors, and even if you were, you would never agree to a mass force medication like fluoride on our citizens, knowing its toxicity. The ADA may mention that fluoride is a naturally occurring mineral, yes, but the fluorosilicic acid type of fluoride in our water is not naturally occurring fluoride. It's a man-made molecule that eats through concrete, glass, and stainless steel. Why on earth are we putting this in our water? This acid is an industrial waste byproduct. This industrial waste is a neurotoxin, and that can even have contaminants such as arsenic and lead. How disturbing is it that these industries place their toxic industrial waste into our water system, and we're paying them to do that? If a citizen chooses to want fluoride, fluoride's readily available in toothpaste, mouthwashes, and by prescription. I ask that you vote to remove fluoride, hydrofluorosilicic acid, a known neurotoxin from our water system. It is a drug. It is a medical treatment. It should be prescribed and monitored by a medical doctor, not in our water system. Thank you. And I have a copy of the water safety report.
City Clerk, thank you. Okay, two more. Elise Curry. Welcome.
I'm Elise Curry, and I'm a resident of Temple Terrace. And the resolution of the Hillsborough Republican Executive Committee of Hillsborough County to immediately halt water fluoridation of the county's water system was passed last Thursday by a majority vote. And the resolution reads, on November 22nd, 2024, Florida State Surgeon General Dr. Joseph Ladapo issued a guidance concerning community water fluoridation, recommending against community water fluoridation due to the neuropsychiatric risk associated with fluoride exposure. And whereas 13 counties and cities in Florida have upheld Dr. Ladapo's recommendation to end the water fluoridation, the 26 counties are in the progress of working towards ending water fluoridation. A historic ruling by the United States District Court of the Northern District of California has ordered the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to take regulatory action to eliminate unreasonable risks to the health of children posed by the practice of water fluoridation. And numerous medical studies indicate that fluoride in the water supplies can reduce children's intelligence as well as and the fluoridation in the water is banned in many countries, including China, Austria, Belgium, Finland, Germany, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Netherlands, Hungary, and Japan. Fluoridation of water infringes upon a citizen's right to choose to opt out of potentially hazardous consumption, and fluoride is readily available via over-the-counter or by prescription to any citizen wishing to use it. So fluoride is the only additive in the water that is not for sanitation or sterilization. So having sodium fluoride stores and water treatment plants could potentially actually be misused by terrorists in the contaminated water supplies where they would do it to toxic levels. Now, therefore, we ask that it be resolved that the members of the HREC recognize our right to clean water and request that Hillsborough County Commissioners to direct our Water Management Department to discontinue adding sodium fluoride or any other chemical synonymous with this that is intended to provide drinking water to citizens of Hillsborough County, to include but not limited to the city of Tampa, Plant City, and Temple Terrace. We request that this be enacted immediately on the receipt of this resolution. And I ask you to proactively vote today to uphold Surgeon General's guidance to stop fluoridation. Temple Terrace. Thank you.
Thank you. Last but not least, Debbie Potts.
Good evening. I'm Debbie Potts, and I am a former Hillsborough County teacher of 33 years, and I actually began at Lewis, right down the street, so it's kind of homeschool here. Anyhow, I have spent 33 years focused on the well-being and development of children. Today, I would like to address the concern for that. To begin with, the fluoride that we are wanting to have removed is actually phosphate waste called hydrofluorosilicic acid as well as silicic acid. Over 70 studies have shown that high fluoride exposure may be linked to lower IQs in children, especially in areas with naturally high levels of fluoride in the water. As a teacher, I know how crucial cognitive development is, and any factor that could affect a child's ability to learn, focus, and succeed in school is something that should not be taken lightly. Moreover, fluoride can accumulate in the body over time. So let me ask you, would you give your child anything that had a black box warning from the FDA? Well, the fluoride toothpaste tube states, if more than a pea size is ingested, to call poison control immediately. A recent and astounding ruling on 9/24/24 by a federal judge, most senior Judge Edward Chan, found that the fluoridation of water at 0.7 milligrams per liter, which is the level presently considered optimal in the U.S., poses, and I quote, an unreasonable risk of reduced IQ in children. The court found that the ADA claims of safety were in fact not supported by evidence, and it was also noted that even more worrisome, fluoride consumption is cumulative. Dr. Ladapo, our Surgeon General, has cited a study which found an association between exposure to the fluoridated water and ADHD among children and adolescents ages 6 to 17. For the past 5 years, I have been tutoring kids ages 5 to 11, and I am personally witnessing the ADHD at much higher levels, as well as significantly lower IQs, the inability to problem solve, critically think, and even process. Does it make sense to sacrifice our children's IQs, possibly for perceived dental health? By being proactive and voting to stop the fluoride today, you are showing your concern for our children's health, and I appreciate you taking it into consideration. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wishes to address council? Appearing to be none. Thank you very much. We'll move on to, there's no consent agenda, then public hearings. First, public hearing 8A is a resolution
Point of order,
to,
go.
huh?
Point of order. I believe there is a consent agenda.
I believe it's pulled.
No, not today. It's back on. These are the items that were pulled last time.
My apologies, this is pulled. Okay, all right. I take a motion for the consent agenda.
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
The motion, excuse me, motion approved, and second, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. All right, my apologies. Okay, public hearings and ordinances and resolutions. Resolution approving a task work order to Vanessa Hangen Bruslin, Inc. for the Brentwood Drive Stormwater Improvement Design Project. City Engineer Brian McCarthy will explain. Welcome, Brian.
Good evening, Honorable Vice Mayor and City Council members. I'm Brian McCarthy, City Engineer, and tonight I'm here seeking approval to award a task work order to VHB for the Brentwood Drive stormwater improvements. So on the first figure on the screen, we have just a general location of where the project is located. You have Bullard Parkway on the north side and North 56th Street on the west side, and then the Hillsborough River on the east side. And shaded in blue is kind of the area that we'll be talking about today. It's going to be Brentwood Avenue between Pinehurst and River Hills. So in this next figure is our contour map that kind of helps us understand some of the drainage patterns. So I'll kind of briefly go over it. In the black lines, you'll see the contour lines. They're 1 foot intervals with specific labeling for the elevations. And the red lines are the stormwater pipe network system. The red stars along the Hillsborough River is our outfalls. And then the blue arrows is where we are kind of assuming the drainage patterns based upon the contours. So you kind of see it as you move from left to right on the screen, or from Glenarvan Avenue towards River Hills to the east. The first blue line kind of just shows that we're expecting quite a bit of flow flowing down Brentwood before it hits Pinehurst, before it starts to split amongst the homes that you'll see a few pictures of here shortly. So this photo is taken from Google Maps, and you're looking south at the first property at 503 Brentwood Avenue. As a point of reference, the tree to the left side of the screen, surrounded by the bushes, is kind of what you'll want to focus on in the video that you'll watch next. Also to note in this video, or excuse me, in this picture, is the curb. And so you kind of see that there's it's about a 3-inch vertical height difference between the asphalt and the curb before it pops over, and you'll see it in the video how the stormwater flows around the house. So this was provided to us by the resident at 503. Again, looking at the tree with the bushes around it as your point of reference, you're looking north from the resident's home. And you can see already the water has, what you'll see near the tree is the water has already overtopped the curb and is starting to flow around the house. And then the resident here will kind of pan over shortly to the right side, where you'll see kind of the amount of flow that's running through the yard. And this next photo is the home adjacent, which is 505 Brentwood Drive. And in this photo from Google Maps, we're wanting to pay attention to the driveway. There's again about a 3-inch curb there against the asphalt, just to give you that height difference. And in the video that you're about to see, you'll want to pay attention to the driveway. So in this photo, you're looking north towards Brentwood and towards the golf course. And in the upper right-hand corner is kind of where that driveway starts. And in this video, you're going to see just the amount of water flowing down this resident's driveway and around their home. So it pretty much supports what the contours are showing. Again, they're going through or around the houses. And so with that, we decided to reach out to one of our engineering consulting groups, VHB. They provided us with a scope of work that includes survey, design, construction plans, bid assistant, and construction services. The proposed design was budgeted in fiscal year '25 for $75,000. The proposed work will cost approximately $76,006, or approximately $1,600 over our estimated budget. With that said, staff is recommending that City Council approve a design task for VHB for the Brentwood Drive Stormwater Improvement Project. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Is there any public comment on this issue? Appearing to be none. Any questions? Ms. Fernandez?
I would like to know if this is reflective of a change in drainage pattern. I mean, is this a new situation, or has this been an ongoing, or is there something that has changed with our stormwater drain system?
To my knowledge, nothing has changed since I've been here. So I believe that this is a problem that has occurred in the past.
Okay, so what you're requesting right now are the funds to do the study and a project to create the design that would then be built later.
That's correct.
Okay, so then my only concern with making sure, I want to make sure that we're doing this in a cohesive manner with the rest of our stormwater plan, that we don't fix something somewhere but cause a problem somewhere else.
So that will be part of our design firm's study, is to just make sure that we aren't causing any additional problems either upstream or downstream of their proposed work. We are having, within our 5-year plan, we do have the construction dollars budgeted within the next fiscal year, assuming council passes it or includes it in that fiscal year 26.
Okay.
Any question?
Just a short one. Assuming all goes well, what time frame do you envision from today to completion of the project? Just sort of ballpark.
We expect design to be completed by the end of the year. Assuming construction through our bid process will occur at the beginning of 26. Depending upon their schedule, like with the low bidder, hopefully everything gets completed by the end or late 26.
We talking fiscal year or calendar year?
That was calendar year.
Calendar year, okay. And how much is in the budget or in the projected budget for?
We originally estimated $750,000 for construction.
Any other questions? Any other comments? Going to be none. If acceptable, council entertain approving a task work order to Vanessa Hagen Bruslin, Inc. for the Brentwood Drive Stormwater Improvement Design Project in the amount of $76,006.
Move to approve the task work order to VHB for the Brentwood Drive Stormwater Improvement Design Project.
Second. We have motion and a second. Any comments by council on the motion? Appearing to be none. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay. Item 8B, resolution approving the state financial assistance agreement for City Temple Terrace, State of Florida, and FDOT and Hillsborough County. City Manager Carlos Baea will explain.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, members of council. As I mentioned at one of the recent meetings, the state approached us, FDOT specifically, with news that our community would be receiving significant funds that were derived from the surtax that was put in place several years ago and then was challenged legally. And the dollars that were collected, the state legislature, in essence, created a law dictating how those dollars were to be, in essence, refunded to this area. And one of those means is by this disbursement, which covers the projects that were submitted originally by the communities, such as the county, Plant City, Tampa, and ourselves. In our case, it's 10 projects for paving. The agreement before you this evening is a tri-party agreement between the state, the county, and the city. If the council approves it this evening, it will result in a funding stream of about $9.5 million to the community, allow us to do a bulk of our paving projects that typically we'd fund out of like our street improvement fund, for example. And if council does approve it this evening, then the county commission is scheduled to do the same on their part at their April meeting. Happy to stand for any questions.
Okay, any public comment on this item before us tonight? Appearing to be none. Council members, do we have any questions?
So this is mostly just so that people watching have a deeper understanding, and that is, so this is funds that were collected through the sales tax surtax that was then later declared unconstitutional, and this is one method of returning those funds to the community.
I would say, I don't know if it was declared unconstitutional.
But
There was a judgment
it was
against-
struck
yes,
down.
right,
There was a
and-
judgment
correct.
against
This is the
it.
state legislature's
Okay.
approach to return those dollars to this region.
Okay, so now with this funding, because we do have a number of state-owned roads in our community, is this funding strictly for the city to use on city-owned and controlled paving projects, or would any of this need to be used for a state-owned road in lieu of them using state funds?
So the amount we're talking about here, it's actually $9.49 million, is specific to City of Temple Terrace roads. There's a list of road projects that are our own city-owned roads. I imagine the county has a similar pot of dollars, obviously much larger pot of dollars for their roads. And the state probably has financing as well from this project to accomplish the repairs to their infrastructure as well.
I just have one more question. This is possibly for you or the finance department, and that is, are we satisfied with the calculation that was, how they designated the number of dollars that come to the city? I mean, I know that we're going to get smaller dollars in Hillsborough County and City of Tampa, et cetera, but are we satisfied with how they calculated what we receive?
This, I believe this, and Finance Director Ingram can correct me, I believe this number is actually larger than what we had collected the dollars, kept them basically in reserve pending the litigation, and returned those dollars. This number is bigger than that.
Okay.
I think we collected about 4 to 5 million. if I
That's my
remember
recollection as well.
Close to it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I do have one. Any time limitations on the
I am not-
encumbrance of these funds, or?
I am not aware of any time limitations. I believe there's a gentleman here from FDOT in the audience who maybe can speak to that.
We got a lot of projects going on.
Billy Schmidt, FDOT staff, your question was specific to the encumbrance of the funds, or?
Yes. No way we get it. Is there any time limit on time frame that this has to be finished, like an ARPA type time?
Yes, the fiscal year will change over on July 1st. Therefore, we need to encumber the funds before July 1st. We're moving, in fact, I'm literally encumbering them today, so that way we can go ahead and set up the agreements as we get them back. So when you guys finish your resolution here, the county finishes theirs, we'll get it back, we'll execute on our part. Once that is fully executed, then we will fully engage the encumbrance and set all that up. So that will happen probably, I would assume, given the timetable with the county, approximately a month from now.
Well, I mean, you'll encumber to us, but we'll have to encumber down the road to outside agents.
This would be a reimbursement.
Pardon me?
Reimbursement agreement. So the city would go ahead and do the projects. Once those particular projects are contracted and whatnot, and the work is completed, you would submit reimbursement to the state. We would then pay the invoice after that.
But there's no time frame on us getting that work done.
It would be, the agreement currently is set for, I believe, June 30th, 2030, if I remember correctly.
Time to get it done. Okay, all right.
And
Jim.
it can be extended if necessary.
Jim, write that date down.
It's in the agreement, I promise.
Very good.
I just have one. And just for people, that they understand that the encumbrance does not mean that the project has to be complete by the deadline that we have to have it encumbered. That's just meaning that we have it earmarked to be used for specific projects. So, because if you understand anything about governmental process and the time frame it takes to get one of these projects going, you would know that it would probably never be finished by July 1st. So We do not have to have the actual construction complete by July 1st.
Okay, any other questions? Appearing to be none, if it's acceptable, can we have a motion to approving the state financial assistance agreement?
Move to approve the resolution approving the state financial assistance agreement between the City of Temple Terrace, State of Florida, Department of Transportation, and Hillsborough County.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments by council? Appearing to be none. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, item C is a public hearing on a resolution approving a conditional use for property located at 501 Bullard Parkway. Cheryl, I believe you need to swear people in.
Raise your right hand. Just swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
And Ms. Shoshone, would you please query the council for ex parte communication?
Yes, if each council member would state whether they have had any ex parte communications, either oral or written, concerning this matter. If you have had something in writing, then a copy of that needs to be provided to the clerk prior to a vote being taken on this. So if you've got anything in writing, hopefully you've sent it to her already, or you're going to need to print that out quickly. You also will need to state the sum and substance of any such communication, when that occurred, and who that communication took place with. And I'll start with Council Member Fernandez.
I have none.
I've had none.
I have had none.
I've had none.
Thank you.
Okay, public hearing's open. Mr. Planner Malik Hall will, where is he? I saw him standing there, I guess. Will explain. Hey, Malik.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, City Council, members of the staff, and public. We are here today for conditional use application 23-03, which is a public hearing and reading for 501 Bullard Parkway. The applicant is Nicholas Shutt for Florida College. So this is an aerial image of 501 Bullard Parkway. As you can see, it is a one primary structure. There's an parking to the south and disability parking or disabled parking to the west side. The parcel acreage is 0.9 acres. The current zoning is single family R10, and the proposed use is college/university. The work for the site includes interior renovation that includes classrooms and labs. And then the exterior work for the site would be ADA accessibility, so striping for the disabled parking and walkway. Disability parking relocation, there's going to be an ADA ramp installed to the left side where their current disabled parking is, and moved to the south side in the greater parking lot area. And then there will be a walkway relocation on the north end. This is an up close of the building, so you can see the finer details of the floor plan. And the also slab to the left, or to the west of the property. And the walkway relocation is to the northeast end of the property. This is a close-up of the side plan that shows the parking lot with the 2 disabled parking spaces that was relocated from where the slab will be installed to 2 spots to the south just there. This is an up close of the floor plan. So this will be a classroom, labs, instructor office, student lounge, and restroom upgrade. These are the proposed conditions for the project. The conditions essentially include the requirement to abide by the site plan submitted through the application process, it cites the conditional use expiration section, and also where standards are not mentioned specifically herein, standard regulations will apply. Thank you for your time, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Malik. Is there anybody in the public who has any comments on this item? Please.
Good evening, Cami Corbett with the law firm of Hill, Ward and Henderson, and I am here representing the applicant, Florida College. We don't have a separate presentation for you. This was discovered that we didn't have the correct entitlements for this property while we were going in for permits for the renovation. They've owned the property since 2004, and it's been in continual use as a college or a university all of that time. So we're not creating any new impacts that haven't been there. It's just a testament to what a great job your current staff is doing and looking through your documents and making things sure they're in order. And they realized when we came in for the actual building permits to do the renovation that we did not have this special use in place. And so we do have our team here to answer any questions, should you have any, but otherwise we're just asking for your approval this evening.
Thank you. Anybody from the public have any comments or questions on this item? Appearing to be none. Council, is there any questions?
Yes. It's more confirmation from staff, and that is in the past, this building has functioned as a church, which is not a residential use, so it existed already in this location as a church use with minimal impact to the neighborhood. And I just want to confirm for residents who might not have realized that the impact on nearby neighbors, we're not expecting any change from current operations to the future improvement of this building to have any impact on the neighbors, different from what it has now.
I believe that's a question best answered by the applicant. I can assure you that the site is in compliance, both in terms of the impacts, in compliance for the proposed project, but in terms of will there be anything additional, that's best answered by the applicant.
Does the applicant care to address?
Cami Corbett again. No, it is actually, while it was used as a church, that was back in before 2004. The college acquired it in 2004. So we're actually, with this renovation, reducing the number of students that can be accommodated in the building. So if anything, there's probably going to be a slight reduction in any impacts to the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah. Councilman Chambers.
Somebody, in the site plan slide, what's the shaded area?
That's currently administrative office for the primary structure for the facility.
So none of that will change in the renovation, nothing? Okay, thank you.
I do have a question. I heard just a moment ago that the current use has a history going back to 2004?
That's what the applicant stated, yes.
Yeah, right, just making sure that I heard that correctly. So does that mean that in 2004, they should have applied for a change of use, but they failed to do so?
In terms of the conditional use?
Yes, sir.
If the conditional use occurred at that time, then it became non-compliant at that time, so yes.
So for 21 years, Florida College has been operating this particular building in a manner in contravention of their current code, and it only came out because they applied for a permit with the city.
It appears so.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I will go ahead and close the public hearing and ask the clerk to read the title of the resolution.
A resolution of the City of Temple Terrace, Florida, approving a conditional use application, CU 24-03, for a use change from church to college/university for property located south of Bullard Parkway, east of Lockmore Avenue, and west of Glenarvan Avenue, addressed as 501 Bullard Parkway, providing for severability, authorizing for the correction of typographical errors, repealing all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Acceptable. Entertain a motion to approve the conditional use for the property located at 501 Bullard Parkway.
Move to approve a resolution approving the conditional use for property located at 501 Bullard Parkway.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any council discussion on the motion itself?
I just have a brief comment. I think the fact that we're sitting here about to approve this, I'm assuming, shows how much we go out of our way to accommodate Florida College. And this is a use that's been going on for 21 years. We're fixing the problem right now. And I think it's evidence of the harmonious relationship that we strive for with Florida College. And so I just hope that in the future, that will be based on reciprocity. So that's all I have to say on that.
Any other comments? There to be none. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay. Item D is the second public hearing and the first reading of ordinance 1580, adopting a comprehensive future land use map amendment for 10851 Rolliston Branch Road. I'll open the public hearing. And Kella Christie from the Planning Commission staff will explain. Welcome.
Thank you. Krista Kelly, Planning Commission staff. I'm so sorry. Just getting a handle on your process here. Today I'm presenting Temple Terrace Comprehensive Plan Amendment 2402 for a site located at 10851 Rolliston Ranch Road. This is a privately initiated map amendment. It is a small-scale amendment, meaning it's under 50 acres. And it's actually approximately 20 acres in size. The applicant is requesting a change from Temple Terrace's public, semi-public designation to Temple Terrace's residential 18 designation. This is a general location map showing the site on the eastern side of Temple Terrace. It's kind of a unique location in that it is technically within Temple Terrace's jurisdiction. However, it is not contiguous to the boundary, the eastern boundary of Temple Terrace. As you see, it's located on the south of East at Fowler Avenue. It is on the east side of Rolliston Ranch Road and the I-75 Fowler interchange. It is west of the bypass canal, the Tampa Bypass Canal, and it's north of US Highway 301. This is the aerial view of the site outlined in the pink dotted line. As you see, it's a heavily treed site. It's vacant. The dotted blue line to the east and north is the Tampa service area boundary. And again, the Temple Terrace boundary is to the west, on the west side of I-75. As you see, the site abuts the Dr. Corinne Patel High School, which is a charter school just south of the site. The area of the school that abuts the site is undeveloped. It's used for water retention and some recreational uses. The site's bounded by Rolliston Ranch Road and again by I-75 to the west, and to the north it's bounded somewhat by Rolliston Ranch Road and Fowler Avenue. To the east, the site is bounded by land managed by the Water Management District for the Tampa Bypass Canal. This is a street view looking north down Rolliston Ranch Road at the subject property to the north and northeast. And then this is looking south from the southern boundary of the subject property towards the high school. This is looking from the high school further south from the site at a large track used as a sod ranch and looking towards US Highway 301. This is on the west side of Rolliston Ranch Road, looking on the west side of the road at a typical neighborhood in that area. And now this is where the Rolliston Ranch Road intersects with US Highway 301. This is looking south at 301. Rolliston Ranch is on the right-hand side. The adopted future land use map shows the site designated public, semi-public currently. As you see, again, the site is an island unto itself, and the surrounding area is in the county. So those designations to the north is the northern boundary is suburban mixed-use 6, and also to the east, directly adjacent to the east, the area in the county is designated public quasi-public, which is a similar designation to Temple Terrace's public semi-public. And then to the south of the site, there is designated community mixed-use 12. This shows the site as proposed and designated residential 18. As you can see, that is the only designation of that intensity in the area. Staff reviewed the impacts of this change. Currently, residential uses are not generally permitted in the public, semi-public category, and up to approximately 437,000 square feet of non-residential use could be considered. If the change were approved, up to 360 dwelling units could be considered, and up to 306,000 square feet of non-residential uses could be considered. In summary, the proposed site would introduce a range of residential uses, including multifamily, and decrease the amount of non-residential square footage. Staff did review this site for consistency. Staff of the with the Temple Terrace Comprehensive Plan and found that the site and the proposed change is consistent with the following policies in the future land use element. The amendment is consistent with land use policies 2.1.1, 2.1.2, and 2.1.3 under the residential development section in the land use element. These policies express the intent to protect stable neighborhoods and to provide for a wide range of residential housing types, including multifamily, to accommodate the city's growing population. These policies support the amendment by introducing the potential for developing multifamily in the area and would assist in maintaining the city's residential land inventory. Further, policy 2.2.2, also under the residential development section, supports locating multifamily uses in areas in proximity to office and commercial activity centers as a growth management strategy. The policy supports the amendment as the site does have convenient access to a designated activity center at the intersection of US 301, Harney Road, and Temple Terrace Highway, as well as to Fowler Avenue, which is recognized as a multimodal corridor which connects the site to other activity centers. The amendment is also consistent with policies 3.5.4 and 3.5.7, which support the conversion of non-residential uses to residential ones in proximity to activity centers and multimodal transportation corridors. These policies support the amendment, as just noted, because the site does have convenient access to designated activity center at the intersection of US 301, Harney Road, and Temple Terrace Highway, as well as having access to Fowler, which again is recognized as a multimodal corridor which connects the site to other activity centers. In addition, the land use policy 3.5.1 lists other roadways that are envisioned for future activity centers and multimodal corridors. This policy supports the amendment because it provides higher density in areas envisioned and that would benefit from the increase of residential densities in the area. Lastly, the proposed amendment is consistent with Land Use Policy 8.1.3, which is under the Growth Management section, and focuses on the discouragement of urban sprawl and the promotion of fiscally responsible growth. This policy supports the amendment because the proposed change to residential 18 on the site would discourage urban sprawl by concentrating growth and infilling an area with new high-density development in an area that can maximize and be supported by public facilities and services. Based on this review, the Planning Commission recommends that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Temple Terrace Comprehensive Plan. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Do we have any public comment on this item? Okay, all right. Can we should be filling out the, okay, let's go ahead. Okay, you go first. Charles, hold on a second. Yes. Please come to the podium and state your name for the record. Please come to the podium and state your name and city for the record. Residents.
I'm proud to stand in front of this council.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Mohammed Sweli, and I was a professor at the USF and also a adjunct professor in HSC for a while. So, but originally I come from the Middle East, and I remember when I was little, things changed now, everybody westernized, they say, but they were the people in the tribe, they sit like this, the elders will make judgment. I am proud of this council. It's the real way of judgment of things. Now, I don't want to take too much time, but I want to talk about this project which Dr. Patel is doing. I think they're building housing, or I just heard about it. I came quickly to the meeting, not very prepared. But what I'm trying to say that Patel is a good man and he's doing a good project. And people like him make good projects. They make the community better, life better for people. But sometimes they ignore things. They don't know things. My family also owned a land in Arizona. There were 2 projects in Arizona, one near Phoenix, and Bill Gates came and bought tens of thousands of acres to make computer company city. That's good. I don't know what. The other project was somebody from, I think, the Middle East, rich man, very rich man, came and bought thousands of acres to build alfalfa, to raise alfalfa and take it over there. But what happened, they drilled the land and they sucked all the water from underground. So people like me and other owners, we owned 20 acres, and my family owned 20 acres and others owned 10 acres. Now we cannot build there or use it because we cannot drill a water well because there is no water underneath anymore.
Please finish up, if you would.
I'm sorry. I just want trying to say this project is good that's coming in Temple Terrace, but I live very on the Rollers or Right Road, which there's a map for that project. And we had suffered originally from I-75 noise. Now that's state problem, that's county problem, that's city problem, but you guys took the land from the owner and made I-75. So the people on this little side of the street, they were ignored. and we suffered from the noise of
I
I-75.
understand,
Now they're building Rollers on Ranch Road, and I agreed with Dr. Ash that to build the two schools, because schools are good for the community. I didn't object to that, but the street is now noisy. So we doubled the noise from I-75 to Rollerson Road, two schools more, so that the road is so bad.
I have to ask you to
Now,
stop at this.
one more question is, so the noise over there, we need to, I want you to, before making decision on projects like that project, to remember the noise for us. Number two is that there is a road behind these roads.
I have to cut you off, I'm sorry. I have to cut you off because we have other people
sorry.
who need to speak. Thank you very much for your comments. Thank you.
I just want to say that the people who live on that Rollerson Ranch Road, and the church, and there is a community over there, they worry about accessing the Rollerson Ranch Road because of the speed also.
I have to ask you to stop. Thank you very much for your comments. We appreciate it.
I don't want to take too much time, but I want you.
You've already taken double time, so please.
I sent a letter 3 months ago to the council.
Thank you.
6 months ago.
Thank you very much.
Sally, and I did not get any answer yet. So
Thank you very much.
I'm expecting some response.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Who else? Who's next? Mr. Loeb?
I'll be much briefer. Charles Loeb,
Thank you.
Terrace Park. Just a couple of things I was thinking about. The question of, first of all, how much of this is supposed to be like apartments, so it'd be affordable housing. And the other thing I was thinking about was bus route 48. That area is, of course, around near I-75 and all that. And why I'm thinking about bus route 48 is because it goes near there. And would there be any thoughts about putting the bus over there so people could go on the project and pick it up over there and hopefully eliminate at least a few of the cars over there? And being I'm talking to the Secretary of the Heart Board, I did want to keep that in mind, and that my mind is on that too, among other things about the 48. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Loeb. Who else? You had a comment? Please state your name for the record.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Rollerson. We live Rollerson Ranch Road. We're right next to the Patel High School. And we didn't know anything about it, but a neighbor dropped off this information to us. We saw the notice of the agenda, but we weren't very, I guess, we didn't look into it. But I guess the only thing I wanted to say is, right now, the traffic is a one-way out. And the traffic in the morning, with all the parents dropping off the kids, is like all the way back. I mean, it's like so hard for me to get out in the morning with my 2 children. I have either to like muscle myself or some nice person would let me in. So we're thinking if this apartment complex get built in there, do they have a plan about this traffic? There's about 600, I think, students go to the high school, middle school, elementary school. So how are they, what are their plans for evacuation? That's one. And the traffic control, because in the afternoon, the same way. Like around 2, 3 o'clock, 301 is backed up with the traffic between north and southbound. How are the people one way coming out from that dead-end road, gonna accommodate all this housing that's being proposed? And then all the students that are in this school. And then, of course, we are a small community back there, but adding this all up, how are we supposed to evacuate if there's, emergency? How are we supposed to get out in our driveway without getting run over? Or I've heard that I mean, not I've heard, I've seen it with my own eyes. Leaving in the morning, people are rear-ending each other. This is not even having the apartment complex. So if we add this apartment complex, what kind of accidents are we going to be seeing, you know, in a daily basis in this 2-lane road that opens up to be a 4-lane road in less than probably not even quarter a mile getting out 301. It's just there's no in and out. There's not enough, it's not accessible to have all that housing being built at the end of the road without any other way out. So I'm asking the council member to please, if you would not consider for this planning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have comment? Ms. Rennie?
Annette Rennie, 9512 Woodland Ridge, Temple Terrace. All of you know me, I'm a realtor. Temple Terrace does not need any more multifamily homes. If it was single family and large property, that's one thing, but we don't need any more apartments. It's just not necessary. Every place, redevelopment is full of apartments. Every place you look is apartments. We don't need them. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Oops.
I'm sorry, I had a stroke last year. My name is Martha Moore. I live on Navajo Avenue, which is out from Rollerson Ranch Road. I've lived off Rollerson Ranch Road on Navajo for 50 years. This is not the first development project on Rollerson Ranch Road, but the largest yet to increase the population growth to the date. I also know there's I'm sorry, I got confused. City of Temple Terrace or Patel Group did not post notices where the public could read that the meeting could be held on the property. We just were notified about this property, what's going on 360 apartments. I was told that it was posted in the paper, but who reads the paper anymore? I called and visited Community Development at Temple Terrace City Hall last Thursday and asked for a print of the layout and proposed 360 apartments. The planned layout for the 360 apartments will generate 360 cars or more on Rollerson Ranch Road daily, along with the 500 to 600 from Patel High Junior High School, already on a one-way in and one-way out county road, totaling some 800 to 900 cars traveling 2 times a day. Every day the traffic backs up on Rollerson Ranch Road to 301, and then from 301 up to Jefferson Road, then blocks back up, then traffic backs up on Jefferson Road to Fowler Avenue. This traffic is parents trying to get their kids, their children, to school on time, along with Amazon, UPS, FedEx delivery trucks, and commercial semi-trailers. My request is that Rollerson Ranch Road be enlarged to 4 lanes to accommodate the number of cars traveling to this 20-acre property. Also, a study needs to be done to see if a school bus or a fire truck or an ambulance service will be even able to enter that property and turn around and back up when called for help. I met with Florida DOT last Friday on this project and was told that they had already addressed the question of opening property onto Fowler Avenue. This was mandated when I-75 was constructed. They stated Rollerson Ranch Road will never be open to Fowler Avenue. Reason given by the Florida DOT, it would divert traffic off of Fowler onto Rollerson Ranch Road directly to Highway 301, creating a traffic nightmare for the residents living on Rollerson and Navajo Avenue. Also, the off-ramp to I-75 runs all along the said property is why the road can't open to Fowler Avenue.
Thank you. Need to fit any other comments?
No.
Any other Anybody else in the public wish to make any comments? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. I'm sorry. Please come to the podium, state your name.
Catherine Benitez. I also live on Navajo.
Can you
And
state your name again?
Catherine Benitez. I want to iterate what Martha has spoken about, but also they speed up and down the road constantly when they're taking their kids back and forth to school. And I know if the housing goes up there, because I've seen it, they're going to go speeding up and down that road. And that road is way too small, and there's only one way in and one way out. I already got hit by somebody because he was going too fast, and someone was letting me out on my side. And it's just, you get anxiety every single morning trying to get to work because of these people on this road. And if they put that apartment there, it's going to be even worse. And from what I understand, he only had a permit to do another school, and now he wants to do an apartment. The school is going to be bad enough, let alone an apartment complex. And it's nerve-wracking because, I mean, we're a small community. They've been there the whole time it's been there. And 75 cut them in half, and we're peons to everybody, especially Patel, because he has so much money. And that's all he had the road on Rollerson done, but Navajo has potholes and everything else, but we can't get anything done because we're peons, and that's not right. And I just want you to consider not to let him do this, because it's not right.
Thank you. Any other comments for the public? Would the applicant like to address these issues?
Good evening. My name is Brian Smith. I represent the owner. We've got our development team here, Ash Bagney, Eric C., and Basit Ali. He's our transportation engineer. This is a land use change hearing, but we are committed to working with the community, FDOT, and the city to make sure the traffic issues are addressed appropriately. There is a consensus from FDOT that they do not want the Rollerson Ranch Road connected to or connected to Fowler. So we've made arrangements in the current plan to address the traffic issues and appropriately. And this, Dr. Patel has spent a significant amount of money improving the Rollerson Ranch Road and putting the traffic signal in at 301. So we'd like you to consider all of those things when approving that. So if you have any other questions, we're here to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, any other comments by anybody? Okay. Council, anybody have any questions of the applicant?
I do.
Good. Mr. Kravitz.
I have a question to Mr. Patel, or if anyone from his group would like to answer the question, I can take an answer from any one of you. This was before I was up here, but my memory is still pretty sharp, and I think you were one of 3 offers when you came to the city and proposed that you might want to purchase this property. And if my memory serves me, your offer was the lowest one, is that correct? Correct. And if my memory serves me still, the higher offer was to build apartments, and I believe the consensus of the community was that we didn't particularly like that, and we liked the idea of a school. Is that incorrect in your mind? Okay. The warehouse was one of the offers, that's true, yes. So it was either warehouse or apartment or school, and my question to you is...
Excuse me, if the person who's answering the question
could
please come to the
I
podium
apologize.
so
I left it open.
you can hear the answer.
My bad.
Please.
Please come to the podium. Ash.
Yeah.
Ash,
State your name. Go ahead and answer the question.
I don't recall a school. Certainly recall a warehouse in one of those, not school, the apartments, in one of those 3 proposals, and we were in the lowest. There was one lower than us, I believe.
Okay. But we are in agreement that the offer that you submitted was not the best offer to the city financially.
Was number 3 out of 4, I believe.
3 out of 4.
Again, if my
That's all
memory
right.
serves me right.
I think there was about a $1 million discrepancy between your offer and the highest offer. Is that also your recollection?
Ballpark, yeah, I
So-
cannot give you exact numbers.
Not speaking about legally right now.
Sure.
But morally, do you feel like now that you're also going away from the original use that you proposed to the city? I remember everyone was very excited about it. Do you feel like you owe Temple Terrace $1 million, morally speaking?
I haven't thought of it that way. I think that what we wanted to do a technical college, as council members recall, we did a study, and it was a very thorough study. We've spent quite a bit of money on that study. So it came back, the study came back saying a technical college was not financially viable. We took almost 8-10 months for the study. It was a pretty thorough study. So at which point we had no option. So our heart was, we are in education, our heart was in education, but at some point we had to pivot because it was not financially viable.
I find it very interesting that you're bringing up the study. So I have a question about that. The study cited factors that made it economically unfeasible, supposedly. And all of them seemed to me to be macroeconomic. There were demographics, like a growing youth population, unemployment rates, cyclical trends regarding trade education. Can you identify which of those factors changed from the date when you submitted the offer to the city to purchase the property to when the study that you commissioned was released 13 months later? Which of those factors was unknown at the time when you submitted the offer?
I don't think anything changed. So we wanted to do the trade college, but we had not done the study to do the trade college. So we acquired the land and then did the study. So I wouldn't be able to tell you what changed in those 12, 13 months. I don't know, because when we had made the offer for the land, we did not know what the conditions were. Only after the study did we realize that it was not financially viable. Does that make sense?
So you didn't know what the unemployment rate was when you submitted the offer?
I mean, generally speaking, we had, but we didn't know the the depth of it, right? Because for a private trade college, I mean, there is tuition associated with it, right? To be financially viable, we committed to the city to do a for-profit on that 20 acres. So for us to be for-profit, for us to spend, I think it was 60, 70 million. I'm trying to remember the numbers. I wish I'd better prepared for this meeting. I didn't expect us to go back, but that's okay, to the study. So we were expecting to spend quite a bit of money on that college. And for it to be financially viable, we didn't have the number of students that we would need and just the tuition to make it viable, just because of the capital outlay.
Well, Dr. Patel, I think you're a very sophisticated man, and I think that you're underestimating what you knew when you made that offer personally. But I'm going to come back to my original question, which was, in light of everything, do you feel any sort of moral responsibility toward Temple Terrace about the $1 million that your offer was below the other offer that we didn't accept? Because we're not getting what we originally bargained for, which was a school.
I'll have to go back to Dr. Patel and talk to him. I am not. My name is Ash Bagdi. I'm part of the.
Oh, I apologize.
Part of the group, but yes, I can certainly do that. But yeah, I'm not thinking that way right now. I think we want to do good for the city of Temple Terrace. We have built beautiful schools there. So we really we're excited about the area and want to do more.
I'm sure it will work out well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or
I
questions?
do have a question.
Councilman Chambers.
Is there a traffic engineer sitting over there? Ah, yeah. Good, thank you. Did you do a preliminary traffic study about the number of cars this would generate?
My name is Basit Ali. I'm actually a resident of Temple Terrace, 710 Grand Circle. We actually did do a preliminary study, and we did something called a trip generation report. This essentially is based on the industry standard called the Institute of Transportation Engineers. And based on that, the 360 multifamily homes will generate about 140 AM and 140 PM peak hour trips.
Okay. Did you do any kind of study back when you were planning the college
College? No.
or the technical school? So we don't know the difference, because that would have generated traffic also, correct? Okay. But we don't know that. Okay, thank you.
If I remember correctly, it was 1,200 students, potentially. How many students was it for? Do you remember?
Maybe 1,200? It was a lunch.
Okay. All right. Ms. Fernandez.
I have a combination of questions for the applicant and the city, and one is, who actually owns the road and is responsible for improvements and maintenance?
I'm more than happy. It's a FDOT owned, Rollerson Ranch Road is FDOT owned and maintained.
So, FDOT, I know, goes through basically all of the roads that they own and maintain whenever any kind of development is going to be placed, and gives the road a grade as to, is it currently meeting the required standards? Does it need improvement to meet those standards? Or is it suitable for the project that may be placed along that road?
So we did have a pre-application meeting with FDOT, and in that they asked us to look at the intersection of 301 and Rollerson Ranch Road, and we did preliminary look at it. What we did is we collected existing counts at the intersection and then grew them out using background growth rates, and then on top we added the project traffic, anticipated project traffic, and based on that, the intersection of 301 and Rollerson Ranch Road would function acceptably. FDOT classifies intersections from level of service A through F. After our study, upon build out, it would be a level of service B. So level of service A is 0 to 10 seconds of average delays, and based on our study, the average intersection delay would be 10.7 seconds. So just above the threshold of level of service A into B. So we did not see any deficiencies at the intersection.
So I'm looking at it from the point of view of a resident, and that is, I live in the traffic pattern of an elementary school and a middle school. And most people, apparently, their children don't bike to school anymore, they get driven. My children walk to school. But, so and I'm very familiar, we have the same issue, one street in, one street out at River Hills Elementary. And I know that it may be that the traffic pattern in general, the road can support it, but at those time periods when you're dropping off and at pickup time with this one road in and out, it's going to be impossible for anyone to get in and out of their neighborhood. I mean, example, I live very close to Gillette Avenue, which has Greco Middle School on it, but I'm able to go around. I know what happens at 4:15. I know that the parents are stacked up there. And I also know that the school has a traffic pattern allowing cars to stack more onto the property to try to keep traffic open a little bit. Would the school be willing to change their traffic pattern to stack cars more into their property to help alleviate some of this? And are there road improvements that could be done that actually make it safer for people to come in and out, not just the school, but the neighborhood as well? Because your study may show that it's only going to be 100 and some trips with the 360 units, but just personal experience with multi-family apartments, from former living experience to children in college, and it seems like it's more trips than that at peak time, which is already on top of a school setting. So I guess my question is, I'd really like to see some discussion of actual traffic alleviation, road improvements, as well as what the schools, because there's more than one, to try to get the traffic pattern improved.
Yeah, I cannot speak to what the school can do, so I'll let.
Yeah. Appreciate that, thank you. I think Dr. Patel and his team is committed to working with the community and FDOT to figure out what's the best answer to manage traffic, to make sure that we're addressing the community's concerns. We understand that there is a significant amount of traffic because of the school, and I think there are some methods that can help alleviate some of those challenges of getting in and out. But that traffic signal at 301 was a plus to the community to help them get out onto 301. So we're committed to continuing to work with FDOT and the community to resolve any traffic issues.
Well, I just have one more comment. So I guess my concern is that if this is the second reading, if this is approved tonight, while the traffic study has said that the road will be a B and acceptable for the uses that are proposed, my concern would be that if we do agree to this, because the traffic authority has said that this is an acceptable use, there won't be a requirement to do any traffic improvements for both the residents and the people attending the school. That would be my only concern.
We understand that, and I think since there's a land use hearing, you're gonna see this project come before you for approval on several other occasions for the site plan approval process, and that's when that issue would be addressed.
So, go ahead.
If I may just add to
Yes.
what Brian said. So, we, the Patel schools, will commit to looking at ways we can further alleviate traffic. There's no questions about it. It's our schools. So we'll see what we can do to ease it.
Okay,
I'll get to the principals next week and we'll start working on that.
okay.
No doubt about it.
You have a comment?
Other questions? I have a.
Thank you.
Sorry, we already had our shot. I do have a question to the traffic dude. One of the slides, it indicated that under the current status, no residential was allowed, but it could be up to 467,000 square feet of warehouse?
I believe that was a current, but what we are.
I'm saying, but the current could do that, or 360,000 square feet and 360 apartments or 306,000 square feet. I can't remember, I'm trying to visualize that chart. Okay. As a traffic engineer, what type of increased traffic, granted it's going to be all 18-wheel semis going in now, there were it to go back to, or were it to have remained as warehouse, what kind of traffic increases would have occurred under that scenario? I know you.
So, I have not looked at the current, what's allowed under the current future land use. We just looked at the apartments, but I could take a look into it and look at the daily traffic that would be generated by what's currently allowed versus what is being proposed. But I believe you did have something that could show what the daily generation would be.
Yep, and Krista.
Your name?
Oh, sorry. Eric Sia with Element. I live in Sarasota, but I'm helping Ash and the school and the property owner with a multifamily. But if I recall, on the report that the county had put out, granted this is FDOT road, but the Hillsborough Transportation did take a look at it. Based on current quasi-public, there would have been, you could have generated more traffic that way if you were to keep it at the current land use. Whereas on the apartment, there was, on the report, it was a reduction on the traffic. So, I don't know if it was in that. So.
Okay, thank you. Because my thought process in that is the warehouse is going to have to be fulfilled with semis going in and out all day long. So I don't, and then again, not to diminish your concerns, I fully feel it because I go in over there every day too.
If I'm, common sense tell me that if I was to put a school there, the traffic might be.
Yeah, the trade school.
Would have generated more, because every trade school students would be driving there. So
That was
versus.
my question for how many students per day.
So, Maybe you can touch on that.
I could just speak to the trade school a little bit. If the peak hour traffic is the issue, then a school would be worse than apartments. I can just.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Schoen, have we gone off the path too far with this discussion, or are we?
No, I mean, you can ask whatever questions you need to ask in order to make your decision. I can provide you a little bit of guidance with regard to what is required as far as evidence in making that decision, whenever you're ready to hear it.
Please.
So, when it comes to comprehensive plan amendments, there must be competent evidence, and it must demonstrate that the amendment is consistent with the existing comprehensive plan, which that information has been provided by Ms. Kelly earlier. Also, to deny a comprehensive plan amendment, there has to be competent evidence demonstrating that maintaining the status quo serves a legitimate public purpose, such as protecting the health, safety, or welfare of the community. The evidence presented must be substantial and competent, meaning it should be reliable, relevant, and sufficient to support the decision. This is important, though. Conclusory statements or unsubstantiated opinions are not sufficient. Such as if someone wanted to present information about increase in traffic flow, that this would cause a serious problem. Certainly, a layperson can offer fact testimony about what they see, what is occurring. However, to say that it's going to cause a substantial problem that is not sustainable, then they would probably have to provide some expert testimony conflicting with the traffic expert that's here. They would have to provide their own traffic expert. Not wanting to diminish the effects of traffic noise, there have been cases where the court has actually stated that increased traffic noise and increase in traffic itself is something that we contend with in a modern society. So that alone is not generally a sufficient reason to deny something. However, if there is evidence that the amendment would lead to incompatible land uses or inadequate infrastructure or other negative impacts on the community, that could be considered as a reason to deny the amendment. There must be presented evidence showing that the proposed amendment conflicts with the goals, objectives, and policies outlined in the existing comprehensive plan in order to deny. Again, Ms. Kelly has presented evidence that it is consistent with our comprehensive plan. So outside of that, you can look at the other elements that I have mentioned. And if you have any questions, I'll try to elaborate further.
Do you have any questions for the city attorney?
The evidence rules that you just enumerated apply to quasi-judicial proceedings, is that correct?
They also apply to comprehensive plan amendment proceedings, which are legislative. The standard of review ends up being different. This requires a fairly debatable standard in order to, if someone appeals it, also only an affected person may appeal it, but the courts use a fairly debatable standard as opposed to beyond a reasonable doubt standard.
So the court decisions that you just quoted specifically refer to comprehensive plan amendments?
I didn't refer to a specific case. I said that the courts have stated that about traffic, evidence about traffic and opinions about traffic and noise. they have commented on that particular element before.
Is that an obiter dictum, or why were they discussing it if there was no specific case on traffic?
I didn't say there was no specific case. I did not cite a specific case.
But it was from a specific case.
Yes,
And was it about a comprehensive plan amendment?
I don't recall exactly.
No further questions.
Any questions?
I do. So I have two questions, not necessarily for the city attorney, but one is who is responsible? Is this an area that our police officers do patrol for speeding and law enforcement? And also, then my second question is, what would actually, let's say we approve this and the project, for some reason, this project doesn't actually happen, what would someone be allowed to use this property for after this change?
I could ask the police chief to come up to the podium and address the question of the law enforcement, and then if I could queue up maybe our city planner to address the other secondary question, or
As
the
far as-
planning commission? Okay.
As far as the roadway out there, we wouldn't enforce anything out there. Our jurisdiction ends at the Rolliston Ranch property. We don't even have the school. So it would be the county that would have to enforce that.
I'm being told that the representative from the planning commission might be able to address the question.
Krista Kelly, Planning Commission staff. In response to your question, what could occur on that site under a residential 18 land use category? That allows up to 18 dwelling units per acre. It's typically a townhome or multifamily development. I also indicated that you can have a point, or I indicated the square footage for non-residential that can be considered based on locational criteria. I believe it's a 0.35 floor area ratio, and that would be determined at a zoning stage in terms of what they're requesting and how the site would either accommodate that use or not. It's very hard at this stage to be very specific unless there's a concurrent rezoning in the wings.
Okay, and I have one more question then for staff. And it's, for our purposes, with this, with what's in front of us tonight, it's strictly amending the comprehensive code for future land use. Any actual,
That's right.
any actual development would come before us at a future.
Correct. My understanding is that this evening it's the comprehensive plan amendment. There's still at least two subsequent land use actions, a rezoning that'll be required, that'll come before this council, as well as a site plan, if council approves this evening.
But this just allows it to go back to the planning commission? Or will this?
You'd be, if council approves it, this would be the approval to modify the comprehensive plan, which the planning commission addresses.
Okay. The comments are quite, okay. We'll close the public hearing, and I will ask the clerk to read the title of the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Temple Terrace, Florida, amending the Imagine 2040 Temple Terrace Comprehensive Plan, future land use map for 5 parcels of land located south of East Fowler Avenue and east of Interstate 75, addressed as 10851 Rolliston Ranch Road, and totaling 20.1 plus minus acres lying within the City of Temple Terrace, legally described in Exhibit A, attached hereto by changing the future land use designation on said property from public/semi-public to residential 18 for CPA 24-02, providing for amendment of the official future land use map of the city, providing for severability, providing for correction of typographical errors, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date.
Is there a motion on the ordinance?
Yes. Move to approve second reading of ordinance 1580, adopting a comprehensive plan future land use map amendment for 10851 Rolliston Ranch Road.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion on the motion by council members?
No one else wants to go? I've got a comment.
Okay.
I don't seem to see any reason why we're compelled to convert this into apartments. Now, of course, the city attorney is free to correct me if there is an obligation to do that on our part. I do find it very unfortunate that we were expecting to receive a school, that we turned down other offers that were higher. And I'd personally welcome if the applicant would venture some proposals about mitigating some of the concerns that have been raised by residents, because he did get a good deal. And I think it would be a sign of good faith on his part if something like that came our way. So I don't know if anyone else shares that view, but that's my position on that.
Any other comments?
No.
There being no other comments, we have a motion to second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Ordinance 1580 is adopted. Okay, council business. Is there any council business carryover from the previous meetings? Ms. Fernandez.
It's a question for the city manager. So I don't know if you want me to do it now or in the city manager report.
What is it?
Well, it's just about our stormwater drainage review. And I know that after the last storm where we obviously had a high water storm, we've had a lot of discussion about stormwater. We've obviously put some stormwater projects in place, but I know that we were looking at a comprehensive review of the whole system as it operated in whole, and I just didn't know if you had an update on that.
Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor, members of council, that's actually great timing on that question because yesterday I received an email from the consultant that was commissioned by the county to look at stormwater regionally, and as you recall, several months ago, we said we wanted to be included in that county, so they reached out specifically because that was our contention. So we are setting up a meeting with that consultant to talk about, the Public Works Director, myself, and the city engineer, talk about the city of Temple Terrace and what occurred here, and then add that to the mix because this is going to be a bigger countywide issue. So as soon as we have more information, we'll relay that to the council.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other board reports or council business? Excuse me, we're doing council business, carryover council business.
Not carryover. I have no.
I have new.
Okay, well, all right. Then next to be new business and/or board reports. Councilman Chambers.
Thank you. First, as your library liaison, Mr. Loeb did a very good job with my report. But there is a library book sale by the Friends of the Library this Thursday through Saturday down at the library. Again, the money that they make goes back to buying books and materials for the library. So go there. You get some great deals on some great books. The second thing, I would like to ask the city manager to make sure that the issue of flooding we heard of in public comment on Bon Air is addressed and someone gets back to those people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
If that's okay with the council.
definitely.
Okay, that's all I have, sir.
Any other new business or board
Yes.
reports? You had something?
Well, I want to ask about the information that was brought up before us regarding fluoride. I know we've talked about the state having some analysis and maybe making some changes and not really knowing what the state would do. We control our own water, so I'd like to ask the council if we would look into this issue. On a personal level, I would be in favor of removing the fluoride from our water. I have read a lot of information and spoken to a lot of people about it, and I do personally believe that it is offering no benefit. And there can only be a downside. I mean, if you just think about it logically, if your toddler is drinking water and they're 30 pounds and you're drinking water and you're 100 and something, and it's obvious that the rate of consumption, the per body weight is a higher delivery for the toddler than for the adult, where it's a one size fits all, which doesn't make any sense to me. So I do agree with the comments that were raised earlier, and I would, I mean, my personal opinion, I would like this city to discontinue using it, but I'm one person, not in charge. So I wanted to ask this council their thoughts on it, and if you would be interested in pursuing information and hearing the pros and cons.
Anybody have any go ahead.
I have a comment on that. You can interpret data any way. I mean, the toddler's not going to drink as much, so they're getting the same amount. So it depends. I know it's at the state level. There's both the House and the Senate have bills there. I would like this body to wait until we see what they do. If they require us to take it out, then we don't have to deal with it. And if that fails up there, then we can certainly hear it here. But I would like to know, besides just the studies, I would like to know a lot more things. There's studies all over the place on both sides. So,
I agree, which is why I'm asking, we control our own water, so my personal opinion, I don't care to wait for the state to make a decision. We are in charge, we are the body that answers to the people locally. So I would rather do what our citizens would like, but so I'm asking if this council would be interested in putting this topic on the agenda so that we can have people speak to both sides of the issue, those who think that it's beneficial to keep and those who would be, agree to remove it.
Cheryl, do you know the status of the bill in the House?
I don't know where it is right now.
I haven't heard anything on it. Mr. Baya, do you have any comment?
I don't know the specific status, but I would imagine that that bill will pass and that provision would pass just based on the majority of the House. This argument is very passionate for people, but it also takes a political turn as well, as I think we all can acknowledge. So based on the majorities in the legislature, I would assume it's going to pass. But that's just me saying that.
The legislature's in session now, and I would rather let the legislature deal with this issue. We have enough, staff has enough stuff on this plate right now, that in my opinion, we don't need to get embroiled in that issue. I would like to, if we did, I would like to hear pros and cons. I've read and I've seen, but I want to hear from some professionals, including some of our own internal people that work with the fire department and health. So, any comment?
My personal opinion doesn't matter. This is a topic that seems to motivate people strongly. So I think if we had a debate out in the open, like you said, Mr. Vice Mayor, with pros and cons and actual experts coming in, I think it'd be interesting to have that just so that it's given a full treatment and so that everyone feels like they've been heard. And I think that if we maybe orchestrate that in a clever way, it won't impact staff very much because we'd be hopefully relying on external talent. So in principle, I'm open to it, but if it's going to get preempted anyway, it's potentially also a bit of a waste of effort.
That's my thought on the process. Well, let's take a wait and see attitude for a little while longer. If the state looks like it's going to pass, and we all, any chance they get, they take home rule away. So that's one I wouldn't mind passing back to them. Okay, so that's.
I have a board report.
Anything else? Okay, board report.
So Riverwatch Task Force didn't have a quorum. David Pogorlich came as he said he would, and so we're not able to operate.
You did not.
We didn't have a quorum.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Any other comments or new business or board reports?
I have one comment about the 100-year celebration, just to make sure that people know that if you go on the website, there is actually a little link that you can click on to find out more about what's going on for the 100-year celebration. And I encourage all the residents, new and old, to click on the link or just keep abreast of what's happening. That's it.
Nothing on Art and Blanc. I'm surprised.
oh yeah. Well, we've already, Art and Blanc is this Saturday night. I guess ticket sales are still open. There are a few seats available. It's a great event. It is the main fundraising event for the Temple Terrace Arts Council. The Arts Festival in November is by no way a fundraiser for the Arts Council, so this helps fund that event. So if you haven't got your tickets and you have something to wear in white and you want to hear good entertainment and see a lot of good art and participate in the art auction and everything, come on out.
No coyote this year, huh? No? Okay. City managers report.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. So I would like Troy Tinch, our Utilities Director, to come on up to the podium. So Troy is leaving us for the dark side, I guess, the private sector. And this is his last meeting with the city of Temple Terrace. So I wanted to thank him for his service to the community. He's been invaluable, and if you were at the EOC during Hurricane Milton, he was there the whole time and going back and forth and trying to fix pipes and make calls and do everything as much as he could with his team. So I wanted to thank him again and offer him an opportunity to say whatever he would like to the council at this point.
Well, I mean, it's been a real pleasure. My 7-year anniversary was on the 5th of this month, and I've really enjoyed my time here. I've lived here my entire professional career. It was a real honor to work for the same city that I live in. That's something I had not had an opportunity to do before I took this position. And I've learned a lot. There's a lot out there that I still don't know, but it's really been a growing experience. I've enjoyed my time here, and I'm sad to go, but the next stage of my career is waiting, and I'm anxious about that as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you for all. Personally, you were always a source of information. Now I can't aggravate you. I have to aggravate Brian.
You can still call me. I just might not have the answer.
Well, thank you very much. Congratulations and good luck in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come back anytime.
That's all you got? Yes, sir. Ms. Shoshone? Nothing. Okay. Directors? It's only 8:10. We still got a lot longer to go. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. Thank you. This meeting's